Welcome to the We Speak Tangent podcast, where we speak to neurodivergent entrepreneurs.
Hello folks, welcome to this week's edition of We Speak Tangent. I'm Michael.
I'm James.
And I'm Kat.
And this week we are interviewing Jennifer Charlton. Hello Jennifer, nice to see you. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me today. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, goodness.
Great to have you.
Yeah.
And the listeners won't notice, but the viewers will. We have changed the setup. So if I look uncomfortable around a table, it's because I'm uncomfortable around a table. But it's
Do
also
send us your setup preferences in the comments.
Cutbacks.
Yeah.
Cutbacks.
Yeah. The budget is
Half a table.
No, we've got corners now. We've cut bigger.
But it's also because people, my mum included, said we can't hear a thing you're saying. So hopefully this will be more audible.
More louder.
Yes, that's a word we're using it. So Jennifer, if possible, could you tell us a bit? It's a sort of back question, I'm afraid. Could you tell us where you come from and a bit about yourself?
Well, I live in the Borders, but as you can probably tell, I don't originally come from here, from the Lake District. And I've got 3 children, single mum, and my journey kind of started in the last 2 years when one of my children got diagnosed, which came as a huge shock to me. I felt incredibly stupid and sat in the room hearing about why they'd come to that conclusion, and my daughter looked at me and informed me that I did all of those things as well.
Yeah.
So it's
It
been
happens a lot.
bit of a journey. Dealing with her diagnosis first, I didn't really think about it about myself. I boxed it off for a while.
Yeah.
And then once we kind of got her sorted, I then started to sort of process it myself.
So, I mean, you said you were trying to sort of block it off. Did you notice?
No.
No? Okay, so but completely...
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I felt so stupid. You know, because my daughter got this diagnosis and I'm sat there thinking, how has she got to the age of 17? And I had absolutely no clue because everything she was doing was normal for me.
But I think that is often what happens because exactly that. You know, it's like, oh, well, yeah, everyone struggles with that. And you don't realise until you actually talk to someone that it's not.
I think as well, there's no instruction manual with this stuff.
100%.
You don't open a box and go, oh yeah, I'm an ADHD, autism, I love that. And then you're left with 4 bits and you're like, what are these bits for?
And also, there's a lot of criteria there. So there's a lot of individual presentations.
And
so it's not as obvious as people make out.
I found that with my son because he has just been diagnosed with autism as well, and both the children are completely different in a lot of ways, which I suppose maybe it's because one's male and one's female, but the daughter's got ADHD as well. Yeah. So I was really shocked. It sounds stupid again, but I'm not unintelligent, but I was really shocked when he got diagnosed. Even though the daughter, I should have seen it coming, they're both completely different. So
yeah, no, exactly, and that's the thing. Like everyone is their own unique being, and ADHD is a whole ride.
And fair play, man, for coming here. It's one of the things. Just we were sitting talking to you before, and I've grown up in a household now with all different ways of lives of neurodivergent. And you come here and you bless us with your conversation. You should be proud of that. It's a great thing.
I haven't blessed you yet. You might regret having me.
No,
really
absolutely
grateful.
not. It's just one of the things, though. We don't give ourselves enough kudos. But when you were saying the imposter syndrome, we all shoot our hell at. We all know about imposter syndrome. Like I said, in previous times, I was out in the wild for a long time, so I totally get that. That resonates with me on a high degree. I can't remember a day that I go through that imposter syndrome doesn't go through my mind.
I think when Amelia first contacted me, I sort of said, I'm not sure about doing this because I haven't had a diagnosis, so I feel like like I might be a fraud. And also I said to you before we came on here, I haven't really discussed it with a lot of people or spoken about it because I don't think I've come to terms with it myself. So coming here today actually was huge. Cause,
thank you. Thank
putting
you
it out
for
there and I haven't
coming
really
at that stage in your journey, and I think that would be really valuable for lots of people who are
so.
in the same place.
Absolutely,
yeah.
I think I think it's actually good that it's good that you've come here full stop, but it's also good that you've come here at this particular time. because what we're going to try and do as the series goes on and on and on and on and on is interview people at different stages of their neurodivergent journey as well as their business journey.
Yeah.
So I think, just from my own personal experience, I think I watched mine back yesterday, and I said to a dear friend and former podcast guest, Rachel, I was like, I don't recognise myself. And Rachel's like, it might be good to sort of shoot it again in 6 months. So I think it's important to sort of chronicle the journey, but I think at the same time, don't feel like a fraud. Because I think it's, I'm not quite of the opinion that everybody is diagnosed with almost everything now. I think there's more information out there, but any diagnosis, be it physical or cognitive or anything, it's just about finding out who you are. And like there isn't a penalty to that. There isn't like you have this, that's that. It's an evolving thing, and I think it's the pressure. I think it's because. And I'm sure we'll get to it, that the support that people get when they're younger or don't is completely different to the support they get as an adult. So I think there is quite rightly a trajectory of we want to find out everything now before the support is pulled. Because once you get to 16, 18, in some cases 21, then you are genuinely out in the wild. There isn't, you can't call
it's 18
round
here.
Yeah, it's 18.
My other daughter, she had been in the system for 4 years waiting with CAMS, and her appointment came through a month. Her first appointment was going to be a month before 18th, and they rang us and said, we're not going to proceed with this because we're not going to have completed the diagnosis within that period before she's 18.
I wish that was the first time I'd heard that story, but it's not.
And then they promised me she'd go to adult services and still get the help, and then about 6 months later the Scottish Government cut off the list, and so she's been left high and dry, which has caused us a huge amount of problems within the family.
There's another, like just hearing this stuff, it's quite interesting that we have this neurodivergent entrepreneur network and how you've came in there. When you said that and shown the world that you've not really told them, they kind of had a wee nerve for me. I go quite quiet when it's really close to home.
We've never been here. We've never been where it's been really quiet.
Quieter.
I just think that you have there's a thing, and this will be a T-shirt. It's like life after diagnosis. You have a network of people in here now that are at all different stages, and it's like in your household as well. Everybody will be at different stages, and that's empowering. It's like, and if it's anything to do with the podcast, it's my job to tell you that it is empowering. In the last, when we've been doing this for 3-4 months now, it's like I've discovered parts of myself, and to watch other people get that wee light just come on. That's important. I tell people that, because it really is, to see people at different stages. Neurodivergency works all different. We understand that now. Everybody's at different stages. It works different. The noises, like all that stuff. But
if it works,
if it works,
and
we're assuming it works.
And I think we were chatting outside. Like the stats are there that self-diagnosis is valid because it's validated by the fact that if you go through diagnosis, like everyone self-diagnoses before they seek diagnosis, although still feeling like a fraud, which I think we've all experienced. And then so the stats are there that it's valid, and also a lot of people, especially women, will generally have a lot of other diagnoses like anxiety, depression, borderline, all that kind of stuff before someone actually recognises, actually it's autism.
Yeah, I've got a friend and she's just gone private. She's same age as me and in probably late 40s. And she's just found out she's got ADHD, but she said to me, I still feel like a fraud because everything I read on social media, there's so many people saying out there that everyone like me is jumping on the bandwagon. I've paid all this money for the diagnosis and I still don't really feel any better for it in some ways.
It's like a diagnosis without the network. You need a network, a tribe of people to go, we understand you, we know how that
and there's
feels.
power in that. Like every single person who's walked into this room has gone out and said, I've never been around people that got me before, and that's powerful. It's beautiful.
We say it every
I mean,
single time.
Yeah, I mean, we
And
are
we're
we are
friends.
so privileged to
Yeah.
be
Yeah,
in this position, but like everyone also has
Yeah.
that experience, and it's really
Somebody else has struggled the way you've struggled, and somebody else has been in the same situation as me. Because I always used to think everybody, and this is no joke, until about a year ago, that everybody thought like me. And then I find out nobody thinks like me.
I
There are
wish
people-
everybody felt like me. Life would be simpler. We'd get stuff done. No, but I think it's. I genuinely think that social media has. It's like everything. It has a platform, but to read it and embrace it isn't always the thing to do.
Yeah, and I think there is definitely a genuine backlash to the fact that, you know, the Actually Autistic movement came out and said, you know, it's not about how much we get in the way of other people. It's not about that. It's about how we see the world, and also we're still autistic, even if it's not distressing, because we've learned to manage it really well. Whereas diagnosis-wise, as soon as it's not distressing, you don't meet the criteria.
I mean, I have a sort of axe to grind with every movement, but I think that, I think it's jealousy, because if you have the ability to go private, you're not on the bandwagon, you're leading it. And there are people, I mean, I think everything is valid, self-diagnosis is valid, but I do think of it as a provisional driving test. Like you're thinking about it, and then you have to go and get the test, and then somebody
If
who
you
is
can,
professional.
but not everyone has the ability to do that.
Yeah, well, I think it should be simpler, but I think that's the only way that you'll combat the thing, which is that everybody diagnoses themselves as something. And I think that, I mean, just in the chat that we had before, you were very nervous about talking because you said, I haven't read any of the things. And I was like, well, I haven't.
Me neither.
Because I think you could get
I
very
have.
depressed. Well, you're a doctor. But I think if I sat at home and I read everything about what neurodivergence is, or anything, dyslexia, the ability to watch sport and not get bored or old, you know, if I read anything about a certain topic, I wouldn't necessarily at the end of reading it go, oh, thank goodness. Like there is a space and a value. So let's just move ever so slightly off this particular tangent. I'm sure we will visit it again. What business do you have?
Photography.
So what sort of things do you photograph? Because this is interesting for me. Yes.
Well, I started off doing motorbikes, racing and boxing.
Cool.
But then I decided I wanted to learn studio and portraits, and just I was always looking at amazing photographers' work and thought, I don't want to just be a one-trick pony here. I was fascinated and had no idea where to start. So I went to an evening class at Edinburgh College just to do the studio.
Cool.
And it's a bit like what you were saying about everyone being in this room and suddenly being with your tribe.
Yeah.
I'd been out on my own, like teaching myself through repetitive.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't read up on photography either.
Yeah.
It's the best way to do it.
I'm not dyslexic or anything, but there's a pattern going here. Just didn't have 3 kids. I didn't have time to do things like read.
That's a t-shirt.
And then I went in and did this night class, and I was just like, oh my God, this is like absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
The people, not always all the students were there, had the same passion, should we say. Maybe they're for different reasons, but the lecturers were amazing.
Yeah.
The facilities.
That's awesome.
And I was just like, oh, I can't believe it. I've got to find a way to stay on. I don't want to leave after a few weeks of a night class. So it started going into foundation year, and I just never planned to do a degree.
Yeah.
There was no point to me doing a degree. I didn't see the reason for it. I'd already done an HND. I was just there to learn and how to make money, ironically. We'll come to that later. And then every year I did another year. I was like, I can't stop coming here. I love it. It's like another family for me. It's amazing.
Oh, that's lovely.
And I think it was allowing myself time for myself.
Yes.
I had 3 kids under 5 when I became a single mum.
Wow.
And no family.
That's a lot.
It was literally just me and them. So, like, as you can imagine, I didn't get any time for myself. And trying to work as well. So the it felt really self-indulgent, and I think there was a lot of guilt associated with it. So that also motivated me. I've always been a bit of a perfectionist anyway with whatever I do, but I had to prove to them that if Mum was going away, you know, and they were having to have tuna bake 3 days a week instead of 1, I had to sort of prove to them I was serious about this, and we were going to benefit in the long run from it.
Well,
So-
what good modelling as well, that it's, you know, worth having.
Yeah.
Thank goodness it was
Things
tuna
that you
bake.
love in your
I love
life.
tuna bake.
I know, same.
God.
That's a...
Well, it's
Sorry.
I was going to make a joke and say it's a good job my son's autistic, because he kind of likes the
He
same
likes the same
foods
thing.
Oh,
over
I
again.
was about to say that is a bona fide safe food. I've
never
lived
gets
many
bored.
weeks on tuna bake.
Change the sauce after 10 days and you're good.
Yeah, anything yellow, or it's got anything yellow on it, he'll eat it, and you know, it kind of
Just chips
doesn't
or
get
roast
sick of it.
potatoes. You sorted. done.
Yes. So long story short, I ended up getting a degree, and then they changed the course and made it into an honours. So I went back and did
fabulous.
another year
Yeah.
Well done.
and got my first class honours degree.
Congratulations.
Well done.
And the best bit was I won Scottish Portrait Photographer
Wow,
of the Year this
cool.
year.
Oh,
First,
awesome.
first woman.
Oh,
Yeah.
Definitely,
Well done.
congratulations.
That's cool. So yeah.
So what was that portrait or set of portraits?
Oh, well, this is in my last year in my degree. I knew I wanted to do something on mental health because of all the issues with the children, and I thought I was going to go down the autism route to try and highlight the problems with CAMS and the underfunding, and that was kind of the initial idea. So I had to do a research project and dissertation.
Cool.
So I decided I was trying to be clever here, as I usually do, double up with everything, and thought I want to do this when I leave. So if I'm going to do all this research for this essay, I might as well start this, because then I don't have to start researching when I've left. I've got time to do it now as part
Very
of the
efficient.
degree,
Yeah.
because I knew I'd be busy trying to earn money when I left. So I did it sort of developed. The more I researched it, it changed from being just autism based, and the kids weren't really keen. I wanted to sort of photograph in the house what it was like in the life of a family with all these different issues, and it feels like we live in this madhouse sometimes. You know, kids won't turn on taps with hands; they're there with their feet, and I'm always really conscious that I feel like I'm the odd house in the street. You know, everyone else has got a perfect life, and
There's a lot of houses like that.
trust
Yeah.
me, nobody has a perfect
they
life.
must just look at us, and they've always got their windows open, you know, because they're always hot and
Fantastic.
when it's snowing, and I just
Yeah,
so I wanted to sort of do something on that to try and raise awareness for CAMS and the issues and the lack of support for kids in getting diagnosed. But they weren't up for that, so we might come back to that later at some point. But it developed more into a general mental health project and the diversity of the amount of people who can be affected with mental health issues,
fantastic.
male, female, different age groups, different reasons.
Yeah.
So that started to do really well, and it was one of the portraits from that won the award, and it's won a few other things and been exhibited in London. And so I've carried on with that, and I'm still doing it, and
Amazing.
I'm just making some new work now, which is really exciting. But I love that, but I don't get paid for doing that. That's my personal projects, but I get so much out of it.
Yeah.
But you should get paid for doing that.
Well, it's-
Sure.
I mean, I guess similarly to this room, that is going to be a group of people who will all feel very connected.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I've had people who I know who I didn't know they had these
Wow,
problems.
that's
that-
beautiful.
So when I started off, they sort of said, "Oh, I'll volunteer," and I was like, "Oh, you know," even the people who, one girl, she's like beautiful and really outgoing, and she's so funny, and
Yeah,
then
you
she,
just
I
never
couldn't
know, hey?
believe she told me she had mental health problems. I was so shocked, and then people I felt guilty because of so-called friends that I thought I knew quite well. Turns out they were struggling, and then I've got the amazingly complete strangers who contacted me, and to put that trust in somebody.
Yeah.
It's a big thing.
Yeah.
It's just been amazing, and it's been a really hard thing to do because I've taken their stories down, and then what I do is I take their portrait in their happy place,
That's lovely.
but I also try to get down maybe 2-3 hours of chat with them down to just a really powerful paragraph. But I also have to make decisions on what they might not want to go out to the public, and they might think it's okay to go out to the public,
yeah.
but I feel quite protective. Like you might not be,
got
you might not be thinking that through.
Yeah, because
but
not
you still-
everyone has experienced the
Yeah.
backlash you can get from
on
those
social
things.
media,
Yeah.
that's what scares me. So I feel like a huge amount of responsibility, but there's some beautiful work. And for me, meeting people, my photography for me is becoming a better person through doing it. That's really important to me, and helping people.
But it's also your like switch off.
Yeah, it gives
Yeah.
you that wee space. It brings us on to the next part of the question. So what stigma have you encountered related to your neurodivergent in the world of work?
I think with working to be successful, especially in photography, which is oversaturated market with people, you've got to be really into networking, I'm discovering, and I'm finding that a particularly difficult thing to do. Going into rooms full of people absolutely terrifies me. Even when I know people, if there's too many people, terrifies me. Dealing with people who might let you down at the last minute because they have their own lives. But if I've planned everything,
that's really hard
and
to
I know
switch gears, isn't it?
I hate it. If there's a change, it really, really freaks me out.
100%.
Yeah, and having kids has proved that to me. I didn't see that coming when I
Challenges that
started a
a
family.
lot,
Yeah, children, you have all these unexpected things come up, and I found that in motherhood as well. I didn't understand why I was struggling so much with things like that, but now in hindsight I begin to realise probably why.
Doesn't stop, by the way. My parents are still figuring it out. I'm 33. So but it's the change management
I
thing.
hate it. If I've got a plan, but I mean, on the good side is if I say I'm going to do something,
You do it.
even though last night I was thinking, I don't want to do this. What because I think I will never let someone down. I've literally driven, through snowstorms to get to a job for the boxing in Glasgow when we had that big red weather warning. Nearly killed myself, but I can't.
I drove through that to pick up a guinea pig.
Oh, it was awful.
I prefer that anecdote. What are you driving for? I'm getting a guinea pig.
I was working for Barry McGuigan, and it was my first proper job for somebody.
Proper boxing.
So it was like I cannot not get there. I've got to get there, but it was ridiculous trying to get to Glasgow, and then I got snowed in for 3-4 days. But but it's so there's pluses. The positive sides to that is I hate change, but if I make my mind up to do something, I'm really, really reliable, and I don't let people down. I don't mess people about.
Yeah, I like that. It's like past me thought about this and decided, however I feel now is not where I should be making decisions.
It's a big
Probably
thing when
something
somebody
that I do
changes
a
on
lot.
you at the last minute, though, man. I struggle with that big
It's
time.
hard.
I don't know why I freak out, and then you think, and then I sort of coped with that by trying to say, right, calm down. There's a reason for this. You were probably going to die in a car crash on the way there or something. Somebody's looking out for you here, and try and make something positive out of that spare time
That's
you've
what
got.
you have to do. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
But you have sometimes you'll come at it quicker. You'll come at it.
But validating self-talk is so powerful.
So if anybody's listening there, don't let us down. don't drop it at the last minute.
Also, talk to yourselves nicely.
And only go out in a snowstorm if you're paid. That's the rule
and
of
drive
thumb.
safely.
Yeah, money helps these things.
If you're going to let me down, post me chocolates the day before. We take bribes.
Send coffee. So I think that is a good point to end. To pause to end part 1. So we will see you in part 2, where I'm sure we'll discuss anything and everything. But I mean, well done, because I wasn't. You never know with guests if they. I mean, everybody's nervous, but I'm so glad you made it through the first part. It gets easier.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
That's the major achievement.
We'll
That's
work up
fine.
to it. But please join us in part 2.
Yeah.
To part 2 of this week's edition of We Speak Tangent. We are still here with Jennifer Charlton. We have discussed a little bit about diagnoses and boxing photography, as well as the degree that you have just got, as well as being the first. What was the title? The first female to win the
Scottish Portrait.
That thing. Well done. So, who has the next question? Because I'm very conscious when I watch back, I'm asking myself to be quiet. So,
I'll ask it.
No, that was a very good executive summary.
Yes, thank you.
So, powers in my hands now. So, how does your neurodivergence shape your business? How does it shape?
I'm not sure it actually... it kind of does shape my business, because I think I found a direction from coming out of college, uni, and doing everything and trying to learn everything and be good at everything. I suppose what I was speaking to you before about the project, it's made me realise actually that I'm not going to get anything personally out of photographing whiskey bottles. For me, it's about...
Sorry.
For me, even though that's big money,
Yeah.
making a big mistake here, but I've really begun to realise through my kids the problems, issues they had, that I want my business to, at least partly, because I've got to earn money, but I really want 50% of it to be about helping people, making awareness, making work that makes people awareness of all sorts of issues. I'm also doing some stuff with Women's Aid at the minute as well.
Oh, fantastic.
So it's about giving back, but I think it's really important that people don't stay quiet about things, because that's when they have absolutely no power to change it. And it takes a lot of courage. Like today, coming here, I've got to try and... There's no point me being at home saying to my kids, oh, it's fine that you've got autism and you shouldn't be ashamed of it. I'd be a total hypocrite if I didn't come on things like this and actually... put my money where my mouth is. So
and the thing is, we all have internalized stigma. So everyone is there feeling that, but also it's about making, exactly like you say, it's about making that decision. No, it's not.
But I think as well, it's like you're building the foundations of your business on top of the foundations of yourself. I myself have done that. That's a beautiful thing. No everybody gets the chance to do that.
No,
I think you have to, authenticity.
And your ethics
is,
as well. You've clearly got the right ethics to put in things that you want, because it's your business.
I think I don't know whether it's a neurodivergent thing, but I'm really honest to the point where I'm too honest sometimes. I can't fake anything. And I do pride myself that I am. There's a lot of integrity with me. It's even down to shooting something. It has to be in the exact field that person rides that bike, because I could choose a field that's closer to me or easier. But and I suppose you're a bit of a perfectionist. That's where that comes from as well. You want everything to be perfect.
But that is 100% neurodivergent.
Yeah.
Right.
That is so. That is so on point.
Yeah.
But we will all at some stage say, if we didn't have the diagnosis, no, that's just being a good human being. Like they're just having the principles at the start.
Yeah, because you assume that everyone else does, but everyone else does not.
And just to sort of kick it into touch, I was speaking with a member of my family who watches this, and they were saying, perfection, it's not difficult. Like, it's not. Like, it takes more effort to mess it up than it does to do it well. So, but that's, if you have that, and as well the sort of the integrity thing, and you know why you're doing something, the only person, when you have your own business, obviously, the only person that can decide if it's good, bad, or indifferent is you, because you have control.
Yeah.
But I understand it's different because you're a parent. I think, and that's the reason why some people are very good parents and some people are just like, nah. So I think what I'm trying to say is that everything that we've discussed in the first part has been the time that you've taken for you, and then trying to justify, though I don't need to justify, to your family that if I'm doing something other than that role, then it has to be worthwhile and good. And I think even though you didn't have to justify, you did, and it's amazing. So you can spend the same time being the second best, the third best, or in the room, or if you put the time in and you have the aptitude, you can become the best. And that's the awards. I think that's the actually no, I wanted to be perfect.
Well, I don't know why then I've won that award, and then I won another award as well at college, and I still don't feel like I'm the best. I kind of still can't believe I won them, and I still don't feel I'm the best.
It's self-talk, isn't it? It's self-talk.
But I was lucky as well to win them, because
and skilled though as well.
But that's the thing, that kind of shame and perfectionist self-talk can justify anything.
But
and it's practice. It's practice, and it's validating yourself, and the more you do that, the more you feel worthy of it.
And I've thought about it as well, and I always feel guilty for the people that I won and they didn't.
Oh, no,
I feel
no,
bad
no,
for
no.
them. So
No, I
I
get
think
that.
I think
No.
I have too much empathy for
Yes.
people sometimes.
That's also neurodivergent.
You know,
Yes,
That is, man.
But
I haven't got that update, but I appreciate it. Yeah.
I'd really like to
it's
get
in the,
to
it's
a
in the
point.
operating system somewhere,
Oh,
just waiting to be
I
installed.
just want to get to a point where I can actually enjoy something. Go, yeah, but
Ah,
Yeah,
now you've
you know.
hit it. Now that's
Yeah.
yes, right.
But
Okay.
like I
But
say,
then
that is practice. I have 100% been there, still go there,
okay.
but go there far less often, and that's just practice.
But you think, well, I've done that, so oh, that's no good now. I've got to. What am I going to do next? I've got to do
Yeah.
something bigger and better.
Yeah.
So I don't enjoy that because I'm then thinking, I've got to prove something else now.
I think I very much learned that the operating system I came out of childhood with was that perfection is acceptable, and anything less is
Isn't.
not.
Yes.
And like I
That's how I
very
think.
Yeah.
consciously had to readjust that. But
I
yeah.
can't. I don't know how you readjust it, but I
It
burn
took a long.
out.
It took a
Thank
long
you.
time
Thank
and a
you.
lot of work
Yes.
and a lot of therapy.
One thing I am proud of is though I don't put that onto my kids.
Yeah.
So I try. I that is my problem.
Which is a beautiful thing.
And I try to say to them, I don't care if you don't get all A's, just do your best. Because
Brilliant.
if you know you've done your best, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
that's
you
top.
feel good about
But
yourself.
also that opposite action of modelling it for them,
Mm.
that will filter down to your inner
Yeah.
child and all that
That's
kind of
top
stuff.
parenting.
Yeah.
You know, there is a lot of pressure on kids, and as one of those kids previously, you know, it's like the pressure that was on me, and like I denied that I was neurodivergent, so the pressure is just so much, man. I wouldn't want to be a kid today
Yeah.
because the pressure is even more high. So to hear a parent say that, but even more to hear a neurodivergent parent say that, that's a beautiful moment. You don't hear that often.
But I think things as well, like there's so many things where you can connect. Like it sounds really simple, but like throwing and catching is something that is like a great unifier, because like if you as a parent are overwhelmed and then they're overwhelmed, like you can throw and catch together, and that it's stimming for everyone. It works really well.
It's a bit of a damn squid if you don't have any sort of motor skills and to be able to, but you can move it into.
That's even better though, because you have to be at the
You're still standing in the field like.
As also someone who's
Yeah.
dyspraxic, like the less you have that naturally, the more you have to be in the moment to do
Yes.
it, and the better, the more effective it is.
No, 100%. But I mean, English teachers used to say to me, a conversation is a throw and catch, and sometimes it's a grenade, but most of the time it should be a throw and catch.
Mines were grenades. I hated
Yeah.
school.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Can I ask another question? So these guys asked me this, so I feel it's right that I ask it.
Oh, hang on. What?
I always wonder what you're going to.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So how do you make money? How do you?
Oh yes, we did
Oh,
that.
yeah,
slide.
okay, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's
I
fine.
now get to use that because
How does one eat?
Just
Just
could
to
have been so
actually
much
say
work.
my
Yeah,
own question
yeah.
now.
So like how what you were explaining there, I am a very kind person. I've always been
Yeah.
like, but I give away a lot, and then these guys are like, how do you eat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say these guys, you mean cat?
Well, no, because you said it.
Right.
Aye,
No, but I
You
said it
usually
'cause
repeat it
Kat
before
said
I
it to
can
me.
get in
so
there. Yeah.
you said it to me. So
Yeah.
so how do you? Aye.
Yeah.
How does it work?
My dynasty grows.
Yes.
Well, I'm kind of figuring this one out, but I think getting a diagnosis helps with a lot of people with this, because then they'll be entitled to benefits. And I'm maybe being cynical, but that's why they don't send anyone for diagnosis anymore, because they don't want people claiming benefits. But from the photography point, I work part time, and from the photography point of view, I'm kind of pushing commercial businesses. New businesses, branding,
Yeah.
headshots,
Cool.
websites, that kind of work. I'll do the odd wedding, and I love doing events.
Yeah.
Anything with people, really, I absolutely love. And then I love documentary work. And then I don't think I've told you this, guys, yet, but I've just started at the Maltings Theatre in Berwick.
Oh, fantastic.
So I've got a 6-month residency there. Which is like my dream
Oh,
job,
brilliant.
because
Yeah.
I'm documenting.
No, that's fun.
I've got a lot of
That's really
freedom,
good.
which I like, and I'm going to be taking portraits, and it's
Nice.
fascinating
That's-
just asking
yeah.
everybody behind the scenes what their jobs entail, because I'm learning so much from
And that's
people.
funded.
I'm actually
Good.
being paid
Good.
for that.
Well,
So
Yeah,
Yes.
I was
it's
gonna
We like
get
that.
that.
amazing, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
usually people, and I'm guilty of this myself, we go for the dream and then we go,
Well,
oh, the money doesn't matter, I'm just
this-
here for the experience.
Well, I was
Yeah.
really surprised when I was sent the advert
Yeah.
by loads of friends. Everybody, it all started pinging one night on my phone, because everyone was like, "You'd be perfect for this," and I thought, "Oh, it won't be paid, but it is paid."
Oh,
and
brilliant.
but it also is part-time. So at the minute I'm doing my mental health series. I'm doing a lot of work for that.
Yeah.
And I've got some more work to produce for an exhibition type thing. So it's
Just when you said that was all part time, I was like, I thought I was doing stuff when I was busy, and you're like, and weddings and pictures and this and that. I'm like,
but I always need more work. It's frightening. Being a single mum is
you
really,
heard that
really
she needs
frightening.
more work. Where can the guys find you then? Where can they find your business?
Where's your deets?
Well, it's Jennifer Charlton Photography. So I'm on Instagram and or .co.uk.com is my website. But
Brilliant.
Cool.
It will be in the
On
show
Instagram
notes
and
anyway.
everything.
You're also on LinkedIn, which is
I'm on
Facebook for
LinkedIn.
business people. I haven't got one
I'm
yet,
on that.
but it scares me.
I
so
need to update it. I've got a guy who wrote a book on how to do LinkedIn. I can give you the details
brilliant.
later. It's a step-by-step guide.
No, just give me the guess. Do it for me. Here's some money. You're like,
Oh, you will. He'll do it for
Good.
you.
Yeah,
brilliant,
he'll do it
yeah.
for you.
I know, I need to get back into mine. I've got like 2 for my business hats that I don't wear anymore.
Well, that's where I saw you guys are good at that, because that's where I first saw you was on LinkedIn. Actually, that's where it
That's
popped up.
Amelia.
So,
that is brilliant.
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I knew you were like properly set up and professional, because it came up on LinkedIn.
There you go.
It does work, Rachel. I'm not a big fan of LinkedIn, but I'm trying. I'm trying.
We've all been tried
It's
kicking
a
and
neurodivergent
screaming.
thing.
Well, no,
I think it's the
yeah.
networking flavour. It's just like,
It's all a bit fake. I can't bear it. I'm just, it's the honesty thing again. But I'm very, I don't know. It's let's see if we can tease this out of you. So the reason you're in these social situations is, and you've said it, and I think it's very valuable. The reason that you're doing all of this work is because the cover for the work is the photography. It is the camera.
Yeah.
And I think it's valuable.
And I'd like to sort of get on to a bit of a point here as well, but anybody listening to this who's divergent, I didn't really tell you how I started with the camera, but I was in a really, really bad place. And I think I spoke to Amelia a bit about this, but I took a few photos and someone said, oh, you're really good at this. But I would come back and I didn't consider myself to be a creative person at all. I'm a very practical sort of northerner type girl. And they're going, oh, you've got an eye. And I was like, what are you talking about? Don't get all pretentious with me. But actually, anybody who wants to get out of the zone, the stress, and get into a completely different world that's listening, or they've got children, get them a camera, because a lot of it isn't even about looking back at the photos for them. It's the process of having a reason to go out. It gives me an armour of self-confidence where I would never have gone into situations before without it. And I can honestly say I've got the best friends, the best network, a huge network of people, people that I love to bits that I would never, ever have met before. It's put me into situations I would never have been in. And every time a situation has absolutely terrified me, where I feel sick, thinking, what am I putting myself through this? Every time you do it, it gets a bit easier and your resilience bar raises.
The foundations get stronger.
And you find yourself doing
slowly
things.
increasing that window of tolerance. Isn't it?
And I went down to London for my birthday. I treated myself because I'd won some prize money. I thought, I'm going to, before the bank manager gets it, I'm going to actually treat myself because I've earned this. And I got on a train and went to London.
Brilliant.
And I would never have done that but I'd been forced to do it so many times with the boxing, where I had to get, because I wanted to get there. And at this time I just went down for pleasure. And I went down there and I thought, can't believe I've done this. I would never have done this before. So it's amazing. I think it's a really good instrument for people. You don't need expensive kit
Can I ask
and
another
things
question?
like that.
This is often when things come into my head. This is the part of the ADHD, right? So
This could get messy.
So I go on a wee journey in my mind, right? I'm a creative everywhere, but it's like, if you could go back and take any photo, what would, if you don't mind sharing that, what one, if you could describe it, what one would you go to and why?
Wait, sorry, sorry, just from my mind. Is the question one of Jennifer's photographs?
Aye,
Yes.
Right, okay, sorry.
So,
Do you
you've got
mean-
one of my photographs as you have it. Didn't you see? A bit dark.
So do you mean a missed opportunity?
Yeah.
Anything like that, you've got the camera in your hand, and if you could go back into that and immortalise yourself in that moment, what
guess
one would it be?
Which one is the
And
most
why?
meaningful? I'm going to take it there.
I'm not sure I'm answering your question, but I wish I'd been in. My biggest regret is not being into photography when my kids were little, because we didn't have camera phones. then. And I look back now and it makes me feel really sad that I could have taken some beautiful photos of them to have kept as memories, and I haven't, because I was so busy just trying to make dinner and
trying to live.
trying to literally keep a roof over our head. So that's one of my biggest regrets.
I think you did answer James's question there.
And I think I've seen people as well, I've been with lots of celebrities and things, or people I've absolutely adored, and I was too nervous to go and say, oh, can I take your photo? And the moment's gone. You know, that opportunity's passed. And I really, really wish I'd now I would be straight up to them. You know, if I felt they looked comfortable and just say, can I get you around the corner? That sounds wrong, but can I get you around the corner for 5 minutes? Do you know what I mean? But I know I'm really good at doing that. I can do things really quickly. I can connect with someone really quickly, because in those situations, that photojournalism sort of role of things has taught me you have 2 seconds, because there's a queue of people waiting to speak to them. So that's why I can tend to, it's helped me form connections with people really quickly.
Just give me a flavour of celebrity. who constitutes
Can I tell you who I'd love to photograph?
Yeah.
I really, it sounds so corny at the minute.
Let him know.
Oh,
or her.
You should
It's
say
them.
him. Yeah,
Yeah, I really, if he's listening, he won't be, but he is off sick at the minute. Sam Fender, I absolutely want to photograph him. I know it sounds really lame, but I'm always 2 steps away from Sam Fender. Everybody I know knows him or knows somebody who knows him, and his mum lives near Coldstream, sort of in the borders. But I knew him from really early on, and we got out the car one day and we went to visit a friend who had a motorbike shop. Me and my daughter just got into him, and he was really quite unknown then. And we got out the car and we were like, oh my God, whoever's in there is so cool. They're playing Sam Fender. Oh my God. And we realised, we later learned it was Sam Fender. That's where his studio is. But I didn't find out for about, otherwise I'd be banging on the door asking him for a selfie. But I'd love to just do behind the scenes stuff.
Right, Sam, you heard it here, behind the scenes. You better be ready.
But I just hope he's like as nice as when you meet him. But
he is, apparently. We've bumped into people and spoke to them that know Sam Fender. And
no, but I just love meeting people where I just get that amazing connection with people. And, you know, that to me, that's more important than celebrity. But he's the exception.
But also, like, a good photograph goes a long way.
Yeah.
That's, that sort of shot of Muhammad Ali going, I mean, a good photograph people have. You know, it's a snapshot. But I think you're right. I think not that I've been the most photogenic or wanted to take the most photographs, but I think everybody at some stage says to themselves, I wish somebody would have immortalised that moment
I think,
at that point.
and it's hard to do anything original now, because everybody's, you know, everyone's set the cameras up above the rings now, and they're all doing that, you know, remotely and things. And that's the other thing that's difficult, is to do something. But I love to get in, I love to show a side of things that people can't see, like behind the scenes, and show them something that really would never, I love that. I find it really fascinating. So if Sam Fender wants to let me go and photograph him, you know, while he's getting ready for bed or whatever, I'll be up for that.
I can picture Sam Fender reading your bedtime story. As you're just like...
I think the poor guy's moved.
He's got flu at the minute.
So, look at me trying to get it back to the point there. Right, okay, sorry, Sam, I'm sure you're a nice guy.
I find it interesting that you went to a regret. To go back to our discussion of general shame.
Does everybody not have regrets, though? Everybody. That can't be just a neurodivergent thing.
No, it was more that it was an open question of what meant the most to you.
Right. Does that out me as being a depressive sort of?
No, I mean, and you know, I would be in that group with you. It was just it just interested me to come back to that when we were talking about shame and stuff like that, and I was like, that fits.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, is the shame thing as well? Is that where you sort of go and overanalyze every conversation you've had and worry that you've...
It's just daily
life.
For
and
me.
I think that I think the research is for ADHD, but it's like 24,000 more negative comments by the time you're 10 than a neurotypical.
Right,
and I would guess that's similar.
Them? Sorry.
I don't know how they did it. But
sorry, I just took that very like, oh, he's at 21,000.
That's one of those. I did check that it was a paper, but I didn't buy it. So.
Oh goodness, right.
But yeah, I think, you know, all of that kind of basic, you know, negative comments on your sense of self as a young child.
Oh, I beat
It definitely
myself up.
affects
I beat myself up
self-talk.
massively.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do. I'll own up to something being my fault, even if it's not.
Yeah, take blame for other people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure I did that, but I know I did it. Just, I'll take the blame for that. Probably
Yeah,
wasn't
no, I
me.
mean, again, something I very consciously did was like work on not apologising for existing
Right.
constantly,
Okay.
because that is and it's something that I've seen in a lot of folk.
I think the danger is that in my point, it definitely put me in a really vulnerable position.
Yeah.
From my marriage's point of view, to get into a really abusive relationship.
Yeah, been there.
Because he was just everything was my fault, and
Yeah.
even if I hadn't done it yet.
Yeah, and you
it was
take
mine.
it
And I took it
because it
and I
fits
believed
with
him.
your belief about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got into this spiral, and it took me years to pull myself out of that. And again,
Yeah,
the photography.
Yeah,
photography
congratulations
was
for
what
that.
changed
It's
my
a
life.
hard thing to pull yourself out of.
It was totally the photography. If I hadn't picked up that camera and started doing that, and actually beginning to get the confidence to talk to people and realise actually people were okay and start to be good at something.
Yeah.
That
exactly.
self-confidence.
If you hadn't have taken time out for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because I think what nobody tells you, it's like there's no book on parenting, but
There's no book on reparenting yourself
No,
either. Or on just being, actually.
but
for that
the point
matter.
I was going for
Sorry.
was actually, I mean, it's still a very good point, but the point I was going for was actually being around neurodivergent people all the time and not knowing why it's very stressful. And I don't think enough parents or family members or indeed neurodivergent people take time out for themselves enough.
Yeah,
And I
because
think
there's that thing of like, you know you're struggling, but you don't know why.
I don't know why. So
And
you're
you
just
don't
in
understand.
that
But then
space.
also
Yeah.
having that mirrored in your children is also really hard.
And to me, this taking me back a bit of a loop here, but the importance of kids getting diagnosed. I mean, my kids are all right with me talking about it, but I won't go into too much detail. But things got pretty traumatic and very, very dangerously close to the edge with one of them before she was diagnosed, and after the diagnosis she was like a different child. And
because it's like there's not something actually wrong with me as a human. Like there's something that's
just
there.
didn't understand what was going on. And I didn't understand, so I wasn't being the best parent I could have been. And that one diagnosis changed everything, the dynamics between us, my understanding. There was a huge amount of guilt that I hadn't picked up on it before. I managed to get help before, but I mean, we'd been 4 years in the waiting list. But
and I think that's the thing, you say you're not being the best parent you could be, but like you were being the best parent you could be.
Yeah.
It's just that, you find out more
But I
and
beat
it
myself
changes.
up.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'll never tell myself I was, because I just look at all the things I didn't do, but or the lack of understanding I had. But then,
But that's
if
the
I'd
perfectionism thing again.
Yeah, but
and
if
that's the
I'd-
thing, like the dynamic changes.
But then again, if adults, it's really important for me that adults get these diagnoses, and they need to really relook at this, I think, because if an adult knows that they've got autism, they'll then be able to recognise it in their children when they have children. So it's this circle, and it's absolutely dire what's happening. It's really
because
awful.
also as you get diagnosed, you find out what helps you, and then you can mirror
You
that
manage
for
it.
them, and at least you've got like their coping things will be slightly different, but at least you have a little armoury to give to them
so,
for them to riff off.
We have a plan now, so if we're going somewhere busy like St James's, which on a good day we like to go, but then also here's the spare set of keys in case you just need to go have time out in the car. You have a set of keys in case you want to go off and just chill it if it gets too much, and we won't go on this day because it was busy, and I'm definitely not going when the sales start because I'll have a complete meltdown. And
it's all about the cope ahead and the strategies and what you're going to do when things happen and safety plans and
that's
stuff.
only happened since the diagnosis. I had no clue, and naturally we've thought, all right, we know how we can manage this. It's been massively life-changing.
And that's the thing,
That's
management
beautiful.
is the
That's
thing.
beautiful.
That's something that needs to get talked about management. But we'll probably pick this up again on part 3.
Part 3, yes,
Yay.
indeed.
Had to think there,
I know.
So we'll see you soon.
All right, we'll see you in part 3. Okay, welcome to part 3 3 of We Speak Tangent. We are still here with Jennifer Charlton. So what are the things that
We haven't mentioned yet.
we haven't mentioned? Yes.
Did you want to share?
Yeah, I think one thing we're all driving at here and what we all really want, and the reason why most of us are here is we want to kind of help people understand us all better. That's the whole reason for being here. But I was saying to you guys before, it's really difficult. It's a difficult ask to ask people to understand us if we can't get the diagnosis and be allowed to understand ourselves first.
Yeah,
To be
because
valid,
it's such a fight.
Validity.
Yeah.
Validity, is that the word?
Yep.
Is that the word?
Yeah.
To feel valued in a world like that, you need to have... I get it. I totally get the diagnosis thing as well, even with a diagnosis and Megan down that line. So how would you tell somebody? I'm quite into what you just said there. I was going to go on a tangent in my mind, but I'm quite interested because that is a valuable thing to somebody out there who's listening, both entrepreneur and
Yeah.
a neurodivergent and everybody. So how would you direct that message to the viewers, to the world? What would you say in your own words to the people? If you were to get a message across, because I know what I would kind of say.
So we are the we are the holders of the society. What do you want us to change?
Manifest or...
Yeah.
I think ask people questions and not make... If too many people make judgments and think, oh,
Yeah.
I'm so clever, I know I'm just making a really quick judgment on that person. But if people actually put their phones down and had conversations with people and showed I'm really tired of hearing people say da-di-da-di-da and then you walk away and you think, well, why didn't you just actually ask me how I felt or what that meant to me or why I'm doing this? And then you would have learnt something, you know, and you would have gone away a better person for it. You know, and that's why I love meeting people and asking them because I probably was judgmental about things in the past. I'll hold up my hands, you know, oh God, look at that brat in the supermarket, whatever. But I realise now, you know,
you never know what anyone is.
You're educating yourself every day, aren't you? You're learning every day and becoming a better person every day. And every day I just get up and I want to be a better person than I was the day before.
That's beautiful.
And I just think if everybody had that kind of attitude and a bit more patience. And just talk to people and ask the question and find out how people tick.
We don't need to walk about with big billboards on, you know, it's like that's what it seems like you need to do sometimes.
But also it's amazing how talking about what you've got going on, whether it's to other people or like writing or whatever, like has such power in getting to know yourself better. And sometimes you find out things in conversation that are from places you would never have gone on your own.
I think with somebody like yourself, you know, you said a few things there that were like, honesty will set you free. There is
Will
no...
it though? I mean, at the same point...
On the road to authenticity,
Yes,
which is
to
the
be
way to
authentic,
feel real.
Yeah.
I think when you hold on to things yourself, it's like I never used to speak about my domestic violence background. I was just really frightened to speak about it. And it's amazing, after about 10 years, when I finally got the courage to be more open about that,
I realise you're not alone, eh?
Well, I realise I'm not alone, but I feel really empowered because now it's out there. My ex can't come back at me or anything because he's not holding anything over me.
Power of saying, actually, I'm not ashamed of that story.
And it's the same. Yeah, it's the same with the mental health stories. People are telling me things. You know, some of them have never told people before, and they've said to me, I just found that really empowering. I've not spoke about that ever.
Because also, the biggest risk factor for PTSD is not having that witness to compassionately hear what you've experienced.
Sure.
So that is so healing just in itself to have somebody witness your story.
Right.
I also think that it has to be told in the right way. I think we are a victim of our own, in the sense that maybe it's just the people I've met. Everybody has a story. And you get to a point where you're nicely nitpicking. It's that thing of, I think I'm struggling, and then I drive past somewhere or I meet somebody, and it's that thing of, I'm not as struggling as I thought I was.
Yeah, and
so, but it has to be told in the right way for for the person who's telling it.
And I think we were talking about reading up on things before as well, and how I said to you, I've never read up on. I feel I'm not going to be able to talk to you today about
You've
anything.
lived it.
100%, yeah.
But I felt like I wasn't qualified to come and speak on the podcast. I said that to you when I arrived. But I think one of the reasons why I don't want to read up, and I'm not judging anyone else for doing that. Everyone's different, but I feel it's a bit self-indulgent, and I don't want me to be known as an autistic person.
Yeah.
That I want it to be down at the bottom of the rung of the ladder somewhere. I'll use the tools I need to manage things to make my life better and more comfortable, and hopefully I'll be a more compassionate person. But I don't want it to be a big main factor, like you're saying, where I don't want to walk around with a big sandwich. I don't want pity. I don't want anything like that. And I've actually found out where my strengths lie because of it.
100%.
And there's a lot of positivity, you know, and I tried to make my kids realise that as well.
But that's the entrepreneurial thing. That's why we're here. That's why.
And that's the individuality of it as well.
It's that thing of, as you said, you don't want the diagnosis to be at the front. You want it to be present because you want people to understand and accommodate where possible. But it's, I mean, just with my own story, I don't want to be known as the man in the chair. I want to be known as very good at what I'm doing.
And I don't want special treatment.
Absolutely not.
You know.
Yeah.
I think as well, sorry to cut you off, Michael, I think as well, like, you won't find what you need in a book. I don't care what anybody says, you won't find you in a book, because you're not in a book yet.
Unless you write
if you decide to.
Yeah.
There is, you will go on a book and you will read these things and then you'll be like, you might get similarities. It's not you. It's not your story inside that book.
Well, it's such a big spectrum.
It's
a huge spectrum.
It's like anything. It's like photos or paintings or poems or whatever. However we create, like, you will see yourself in that, and that's really powerful. And sometimes any of these boxes, you know, really feel like home, but any box that is presented to you is not your box. It might be part of what your box becomes.
Because everyone's had all the other life experiences.
Exactly.
So sometimes, you know, last night I was thinking about this before I came on, and I was like, well, am I like that because is that autism then? And then I thought, well, no, it might not be because I had this happened in my childhood or that happened, you know, and maybe that's why I'm like that.
But then, you know, the whole diagnostic criteria is, you know, a traumatized, burnt out, struggling autistic person. And, you know, we're not always like that. And like you say, there is a lot of strength there.
What else we miss it on? Like, and I've been talking about this lately. I've been doing a few talks, and back in the day, we'd have sat round a fire and we'd all sit there and we'd all be talking about stuff. That doesn't happen anymore.
So when was this?
No, like
Caves.
Way back in the day.
Tribe. when tribes were literal,
Okay.
And that's like this. So this platform is the fire that we're sitting around. So it's like, everything you're saying is valid. I call it my autistic face. If I don't smile when something's happening because I'm taking in that positive stuff. Like I said to you while we were off camera, your past is somebody's strength, and I say that because it's so true. That something along the line, somebody will be like, it's like the no reading a book thing. Somebody will be like, you know, I don't need to find it in a book. Let me see what else I can discover. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, don't be scared to try these things. If we can do anything in this podcast or in this room by telling people, you may not get the full closure of what it is we are doing, but you sure as hell will get some sort of starter line or middle line. You know?
And you know, like, neurodivergent childhood is kind of inherently traumatic in the society that we're in. So, you know, everyone has that intersectionality, and it's different for everybody how everything interacts with each other.
It's finding the moments of joy. It's business. It's business. It's childhood. It's your
gratitude
story.
practice, man.
Use it
every day. 3 things grateful for. So powerful. Changed my life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, one of them every day is coffee, but that's just because I like to cheat on just figuring out 2 things. But the point is that, I mean, it is a story. It is your story. It's what you've been through. And there's been some horrendous moments, but I like the idea of getting all the horrendous moments out of the way. So it's like the hospital thing. I've done all my hospital stuff when I was younger, so hopefully with enough credit, I won't be in hospital. I probably will. But it's that thing of, there is genius, there is lights, there is all manner of things in each story.
There's a lot of humour to be found as well. I mean,
Absolutely correct.
me and the kids,
Yeah.
the things we say, if anybody heard it, but we're just ripping each other all the time because we're neurodivergent.
Yeah.
You know, and we have a lot of laughs over it as well, and you know, it's
There's a wee saying I've been
doesn't
saying
have to
quite
be
a lot
sad.
lately, so I'm going to say it because it's rattling about inside my noodles. And so it's like, light is useless without dark. It is the darkness we need to have, because the light comes and lights up the path so we can see.
Yeah.
So
There's I'll quote you back.
I don't think
There's
you've ever said that,
Lewis
this
Grassic Gibbon.
week.
Oh, like a
Sorry,
sorry.
last week. Sorry. I've been saying that.
In a poem, and the quote is, "Life sparkles and passes." And
that's
that
nicer.
helps me
Yeah.
to
How
remember
dare you.
to find the points of gratitude, because it's like, you know, the only constant is change, but in that change there's there's good things.
James
about
is
that.
taking all his torches out the light, and Michael is kiboshed my saying, there is no light in here, just darkness.
There with the candle
It's true.
stuffer.
but change is terrifying as well.
It is, yeah, 100%.
It's the biggest own goal in the history of neurodivergence. It's any specialist who doesn't like change. No, he doesn't like this one.
Yeah, dreams and brilliance and plans,
Yes.
but actually changing anything.
Yes.
Terrifying.
I used to be a salesman, and one of the sayings that I adapted from was that you cannot take anybody into a dark room then turn the light on, let alone a neurodivergent.
Yeah.
You better turn that light on before I come in there.
Yeah,
'Cause
we're
it's
very,
like,
very, very neophobic. You have to be
it's
like,
like,
here's a new thing,
show
little
me
baby
what-
steps.
Show me what it is and give me it in the terms that we think. So I guess that's like, I only find what I need in a book, but I like to be shown by others, like these guys in the room. You know, the network is there for a reason.
Yeah.
You've made another 3-4 friends in here as well.
Oh,
so you're part of
thank you.
this network.
Counting the room.
I'm terrible. Because my mind's
Dyscalculic, man, it's real.
like, see when stuff's when stuff is so serious, is like
Yeah.
autistic
Bring it
and
back.
ADHD
Yeah,
side
yeah.
fights with each other.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah,
constant.
totally.
and it's
ADHD
like,
is a ride.
But I could see it in your mind. You've made another.
because you snuffed it on the light, so I was like, there's no light left in here.
I was going to
That's
suggest
right.
we go for a Christmas party, but we'd probably all be
We'll
overstimulated
get you online.
by all the lights and things. Yeah.
We'll just get you online.
It's sort of a plan, but it's not Christmas. But yeah,
But
but
again-
we're doing walks.
Aye,
So
come for a
anyone that
coffee
wants
and
to
a
come
walk.
for a walk and
Right,
and a warm drink,
Aye.
you're very welcome.
We'll blow your tyres up that time. We'll save that story for another time, Michael.
No, we did it.
Oh, we
It'll
did
be
it.
out.
We
It'll
did
be
it.
out by now.
Yeah, we did it. Yeah. Don't worry.
Missed it.
Scheduled before this one.
I know. It'll be fine.
Yeah, so that's your back Easter egg if you haven't listened to the ones that have happened already.
So to draw this to a wonderful conclusion, I think every podcast that we do is a learning tool for somebody. But and I'm not Mystic Michael by any means, but I do think that when you listen to this back, the thread will be, I'm actually far more amazing than I thought I was when I came in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what we like to do is we like to have guests back at a different stage. And it's mainly so that we can rehash the old episodes and get it. But no, we like to have people back because they'll be at different stages in their life and as well as in their profession.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think
Yeah.
that you have a lot of skills and a lot of ability.
Talent.
Yeah.
I love doing that with my mental health project, and from where I started already, I'm getting the subjects coming saying, well, now I've just had my diagnosis, and how do you feel?
Yeah.
And it's brilliant to keep adding and building on that, you know, that
Is
initial
that a thing?
relationship.
If you take a photograph of somebody before diagnosis and then take a photograph of somebody
Oh,
after.
Yeah.
I'm not a photographer, sorry,
You
I'm not
can see
interested in it.
different
But,
aura, man.
it's
I
a
think
different
if you photographed my daughter
thing.
and her life in the house before,
Yeah.
and she's a different person.
Yeah.
She's social.
The light
She's
switched on.
she's just transformed
It's
into a
tempting to get
completely
that
different
light.
person. But there is definitely that would be a good photo project to do.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. I'll put it in my list
Please
of things.
do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Can you get me funding?
Possibly.
We are in a certain building.
Put it on the back burner.
Yes, and I'm reliably informed that the business advisors do watch this every week. So,
Yes, they do.
So yes, that's funding for photographs before or after diagnosis because we know all
Yes,
the business
we-
advisors.
Honestly, that's
We
We
actually a
know
really
how
good
they
idea.
work. There are people with lists.
That was your
so,
idea.
Yes, it was.
well done.
20%, please.
I'll only take 5. I'm not asked.
So from all
If you'd
of
like a poem to go with those photos.
James has a publishing company.
Yes, we'll publish it
Yeah,
for you.
there you go,
Yeah,
sorted.
we'll publish it for you.
You're well dodgy, aren't you? You do
How am I
everything.
dodgy? Hold on, the light has been snuffed out.
No light from
I'm a
Greaves.
great character.
He's got a finger in loads of pies, hasn't he?
Yes, that's exactly.
We've
that
done
was my
this for an
first
hour,
reaction.
and
Did you
we've had entrepreneurial genius in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Snuff
totally.
mines
Can you
out.
get us,
But no,
can you get some
like,
cheap
think
steak
about-
off the back of a lorry or
No, I'm
something?
not.
Can you
think
not?
about a book
Not
of
that guy.
those. A book of those photos.
Sorry?
Think about a book of those photos.
Yeah,
Like a high school photo.
Pre and post. Yeah.
what with the mental health one? Do you mean, or the
Yeah,
new one?
either-
Yeah, I'm
either
already.
both.
I'm on that. I've got
Nice.
what I do is I put post-it notes on my wall, and I'm trying to learn
Oh, cool.
manifestation, and
Excellent.
it's amazing.
We love a vision board.
Yeah, so my next thing was, what am I going to do after I won this award and got
Yeah.
the degree? I've got to keep moving forward. So it's an exhibition's my dream, to
Cool.
try and get it as seen by as many people as possible. More people who look at it and read the words of the people, it might just change one
Yeah.
person's life.
Well, you
Or
never
they
know.
might-
Somebody might have some exhibition space.
Yeah, exhibitions, or and the other thing was a book.
Yeah.
I
Cool.
think self-published, unfortunately, is going to have to be the way to go.
Yeah,
because it's
Why-
too
I
expensive.
self-published on Amazon.
Why
so if you want
unfortunately?
any
I've been told
kicks
about
for that,
Amazon.
yeah.
Why unfortunately? Because that's just like the
Yeah, why would you not?
That's like getting the diagnosis and not getting the diagnosis.
Because we all want the puffin contract. That's
Oh,
right.
well, everybody wants that. But
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go
Muffin.
into sensory here, but it's my idea of I buy a lot of photo books. It's my I shouldn't. I'd be going to the
Lots
Maldives or
of
something
coffee
instead.
tables.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the ones that have like that Hessian and the really expensive paper.
Have you
and-
met Amelia?
Yeah, and
Yes.
you have the sort of you get all of the kind of transparency paper between
completely.
with the.
Yeah.
You're with me, aren't you, Amelia? You're getting this.
Very
Yeah,
much,
you can come round to my house one day. I've got it's like a library, but I kind of visualise that's what I want, because I want it to
Beautiful.
be a really touchy-feely, a beautiful
Lovely.
thing to hold.
Yep.
And I'm not being discrediting Amazon, because I might be wrong. They might do books like that, but I kind of have a few companies that I buy books from that I kind of tend to be my go-to companies. And the dream is to be
Go for the Hay House
through them.
contract.
Right. Okay. I'll find out what that is when I get home. I don't know what that is.
Well, we've achieved a lot today. Amelia's got a photography friend. We got
Just the one.
just many, but
I
the
also have
I
many.
also like photography.
Christmas party or next Christmas party is going to be a lot
Just
more
less
fruitful.
skilled,
Yes, I can drink a coffee now, and Amelia can talk about photography. But no, we've achieved a heck of a lot. And
Yeah,
as I
thank
said,
you so much for going there. And like even like Michael says, watch it back and like look at the difference. What happens when you're in a room with people that
honestly,
get you.
it was terrifying, but I'm so glad I did it. Thanks for reaching out and asking me to do
You
it.
should be proud of yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah, 100%.
We're
Yeah,
proud of you
definitely.
as well.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
done.
I
yes,
just
even I am. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I hope somebody gets something from it, and
I'm sure they will.
maybe
Yeah.
they'll buy somebody a child a camera, and
Yeah.
maybe it'll make a difference to someone's life.
It's a great message.
How much is the cheapest camera? Not. Sorry, that
yeah,
wasn't a thing with my
depends
parents.
what your
but I'm just-
criteria is.
Yeah.
I did get bought a camera actually. I and my
Second
little
hand.
disposable camera.
Get them,
Excellent.
get them second hand, because every
I think this will be on the
photographer,
TikTok
Yeah.
thing now. How much could you actually get a?
every photographer is always having to upgrade
Yeah,
the
I got
equipment.
I got my first 20D on
Yeah.
eBay.
Yeah, so I would go for the second hand. MPB do great second hand stuff, and
Yeah.
or there's lots of sites where I made friends with photographers who would
Yeah.
upgrade
Yes.
and you
Find
knew
some,
it'd be
yeah,
looked
find
after.
someone who's like
Yeah,
one
yeah.
step ahead
Yeah.
and get there on their second.
But the
hand
best
stuff,
thing to
yeah.
do is start cheap, because
Yeah.
I learned my creativity through trying to compete with people who had all the gear.
Yeah.
And
I
no
couldn't.
idea.
And it's like you say about having an eye. It's like your own individual composition.
I had to learn to be different, because I couldn't
Yeah.
compete technically, and so then when I got the gear, I was away. I was
Yeah.
flying, because I
Yeah.
had both in my bag of tools.
So cool.
So that's a book and also a potential idea for
Exhibition.
Project.
exhibition and pre-loved cameras for people.
Pre-loved cameras for everyone. Yes, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm being genuinely serious. Like business advisors, we've done the job for you. But yes, no, I absolutely. I think all those things are very achievable. So, and I think we're in the right space to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
The steam toys dropped.
Nido down.
I dropped the mic, sorry.
No, it's okay. So from all of us here, thank you so much for being here with us.
thank you.
Thanks, guys.
It's going to be a heck of a learning tool for, I think, everybody involved. So, and if I said every single podcast that I'm part of, if you don't get anything out of this particular one, try something a bit audio less intensive.
One of our other ones.
But also stay tuned.
Mine. Please stay tuned because we have a lot of amazing people coming up, as well as the people that we've interviewed previously and indeed today. So
Everyone is awesome.
Yeah, well, yes.
It's Lego time.
Yes. So from all of us here at We Speak Tangent, I've been Michael.
I've been James.
I've been Kat.
And we'll see you soon. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the We Speak Tangent podcast, brought to you by the Neurodivergent Entrepreneurs Network in partnership with South of Scotland Enterprise.